Hi, I'm Dr. Elliot Adam from ElliotOracle.com. I'm also the author of the best-selling Fearless Tarot and the award-winning Tarot in Love, Consulting the Cards in Matters of the Heart. Both books are available from Llewellyn Books. They're available online wherever books are sold, and I also have some signed copies available for purchase on my website, ElliotOracle.com. And it is time for this week's Oracle Reveal. So yesterday on my social media, I put up a picture of three mythical animals, and I asked you to use your intuition and just ask yourself which animal's getting caught in your head, because that animal has your message. And the three mythical animals I picked were the dragon, the phoenix, and the Sphinx. So if you're just joining me now, ask yourself which archetype is getting caught in your head, because that animal has your message. For those of you who picked the dragon spirit, dragon is associated with power, wisdom, that element of fire, creativity. But it's also a symbol for what is fantastical, what is beyond belief. And if you're attracted to dragon right now, this might be a time where you're really kind of like reaching toward something that seems limitless within you. It might be a time to level up. It might also be a time to summon your own power. The first card for dragon is where it's best for you to place your focus this next week. And we get the Six of Pentacles. And I love this card because I like to think of it as the card of angels unaware. You can see the wealthy merchant who's giving coins to the poor. And he knows he's not going to get those coins back, but he's not concerned about it. He's holding the scales, which can represent karma. And what the Six of Pentacles is often about is stopping and looking around you and seeing the magic, seeing the sacred in the eyes of those that surround you. And not maybe making a snap judgment, not judging by an appearance, but seeing the intrinsic value that's beneath the surface. Six of Pentacles tells you to beware because you may be entertaining angels unaware. And oftentimes in mythologies and stories of old, there are these tests that come to mortals where an angel or a fairy comes in disguise as a beggar or as somebody who appears to not have societal worth. And it's really incumbent on the one getting tested in the myth to see the ruse, to see the sacred in the eyes of those around them. And so too for you this week, Six of Pentacles is about generosity, support, giving of yourself. I feel like the more you give of yourself, the more positive energy you put out there, the more you stand to reap that sort of energy in the future when you're going to need it. This might also be a time where you're receiving help from sort of an unseen force, something that's helpful on your path, and so you want to be open to it. Next, we got advice from your inner wisdom, and there we get the Eight of Wands, which is a card of fast information, speed, and momentum. And I feel like there is just the sense I'm getting from these two cards that there's magical assistance available to you. It's going to come in very suddenly. It's going to come in through messages or messaging. The Eight of Wands is a card that sometimes can even indicate things that come over the airwaves or over the internet, things that just kind of come through the sky and just pop right in front of you. Pay attention to signs or signals, especially ones that are steering you toward the help that you're going to need. It might also be a time for you this next week to give those encouraging messages to others as well. And the mythic archetype that's going to help you this next week is Hephaestus, if you pick the dragon, which is appropriate. Hephaestus is the god of fire and also work and creativity. And the dragons, they breathe fire. And so I do feel like there's this energy that's building around you, dragon. And somehow I feel like your work has something to do with the stage in which all of these things play out. Maybe you're needing to see the sacred in the people that you're working around or the people you're serving through your work. Maybe the sign or signal or omen that's coming your way is going to come while you're at work or while you're focused on the job that you're doing. But I just feel like messaging is going to come to your aid, especially when it has to do with your work this next week. So pay attention. Next, we're going to go into the phoenix animal. And phoenix, if you're attracted to that, well, that is the bird of rebirth and renewal and energizing again. And it's also the bird that reminds us that that which dies becomes reborn in a new and stronger form. And so if you're attracted to Phoenix, maybe it's a time where you're sort of letting go of some things that are difficult, and yet you're also looking forward to the resurrection, the renewal that's going to take the place of what is perceived to be lost. Phoenix is telling you that you're resilient and that you can bounce back. First card for the Phoenix is where it's best to place your focus this next week, and we get the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords, he's racing ahead on his horse. He's really goal-oriented. He's just charging ahead. He's yelling at the horse, go, go, go. And the horse is looking up at him like, I can't move any faster. And I like to think of the Knight of Swords as sort of that cruel taskmaster that can be within our own minds, which is pushing us to succeed, pushing ourselves to the limit. And the horse can be our physical body, which knows just how much of something we can handle or take. And so the message of this card may be that you need to be kinder to yourself. You might need to slow down, take your time. You might need to be a little bit more gentle. I also feel for the Phoenix this next week, not to rush through things, but instead to take your time with things, to allow them to sort of, transform or change in their proper time without you forcing it. Next, we got advice from your inner wisdom, and we got the Five of Pentacles reversed. Now, for me, the Five of Pentacles reversed really calls your attention to where your energy is getting wasted. This might be what you need to release as the Phoenix. This might be what needs to die metaphorically in your own life so a rebirth can be assured. Five of Pentacles can represent people or situations that drain you. They're the sort of people who don't give you anything back for your time or your energy, and they just take and take and take. And so this could be a time where you're running on empty. Maybe you're like the Knight of Swords trying to be Superman or Superwoman and see to the needs of all these people around you and race ahead at the expense of your own self. And this Five of Pentacles reversed is saying, this is depleting you. It's time to turn off the spigot to whatever's leaking or draining energy away from you this next week. I just feel for this Phoenix, it's so important to have self-care. And I feel like that's the hang up. That might be the thing that's preventing the rebirth. Maybe the life that you're really wanting to enjoy or have isn't quite possible right now because you're not putting yourself first, or you're not really taking care of your own needs. So it's just so important that you treat yourself in the way that you would want other people to treat you as well, that you're just as kind and loving as you want other people to treat you. And the mythic archetype that's going to help you if you pick the Phoenix is Pontos. And he's the great sea in Greek mythology. And his card says the unknown. And I just kind of feel like there is a little bit of a risk with the Phoenix this next week, where it's like, oh no, I have to risk letting go of this old pattern, this thing that's draining me, this thing that's really taking its toll on me. But what's going to be in its place if I do let go of that? Who am I then? What's going to happen? And Pontos is saying it's not known. It's the unknown. It's a mystery. And yet you don't want to project like the worst case scenario on the sea. I feel that Pontos, the sea, could say that there's a natural current and you're needing to ride those waves towards your rebirth. And if there's a resistance because you're trying to force your energy into something that isn't supporting you, it might be a time to get on your own team, to take care of yourself again before seeing to the needs of others. And then finally, we have the Sphinx, and the Sphinx is the creature of riddles and mystery. The Sphinx is also, it looks like the Library of Alexandria, all those scrolls of knowledge. The Sphinx could be the animal archetype that has the answers, knows the answer to the riddle. And I just feel with the Sphinx that this is a time to trust the mystery, to learn more about the mystery, to delve into the waters of the unknown like Pontos with the Phoenix, but to be unafraid of them. First card for Sphinx is where it's best for you to place your focus. And we get the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands is a card of optimism, but also talent. He's also the traveler of the tarot with his brother, the Knight of Wands, because he's got these pyramids of Egypt behind him. He can represent different experiences, putting yourself in a different space. He's also a symbol of resiliency, optimism. And he's got some growing to do. He's wearing that, or he's holding that wand that's a lot taller than he is. It's like a measuring rod. And yet he's okay with that. He's okay with what he's growing into. He doesn't expect to be a finished product right now. And whenever I think of this card, I think of the word talent. So this could be a time where you're really learning to trust your talent, trust your abilities, and be optimistic about the newness of things, the new things that you're stepping into. The advice from your inner wisdom, if you pick the Sphinx, is actually the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords is one of those cards that nobody likes to see in a reading. It looks like it's hurtful, it's hurting, it's difficult. And for me, the Ten of Swords is really a card of endings, finality, closure. It's a card that says it's time to close that door. And I feel like your inner wisdom might be telling you that you've been on this path, on this journey, and there's newness, there's optimism ahead for you, but that you're needing to close the door on what the storm was before. It might be also a time to face something that you've been avoiding, that you've been afraid of. You know, the swords are in the guy's back on the Ten of Swords, and this indicates that he wasn't facing those uncomfortable thoughts. Swords are thoughts in the tarot. They're symbols for our thought forms, our brain, and he's avoiding it. He's avoiding the conflict. And you can't avoid conflict. That which doesn't go through conflict, it doesn't grow. And so Ten of Swords could indicate that it's time to face the conflict, meet the moment. You have a way better chance of surviving a Ten of Swords moment when you're confronting reality rather than being the ostrich with your head in the sand. And I also just feel like there is resiliency and optimism afterward with that Page of Wands, where you need to place your focus. But your inner wisdom is telling you it's time to close the door on the thing that's made you uncomfortable in the shadows. It's time to turn around, confront it, and face it and be brave. And the mythic archetype that's going to help you with that appropriately is brave Odysseus. He's the one who goes on the Trojan, goes to the Trojan War and doesn't come home for 20 years. His card says journey, and I just feel with all three of these cards, they say journey to me. They say the new beginnings on your journey that are still ahead that you can be optimistic about. You need to know that that's real. This set of cards also says that there's something on your journey that's painful. It's time to bring closure to it. It's time to walk away. And then we have Odysseus, who is the one who holds space for your journey, who sees the whole journey, the long pathway that you've been on, puts it in the context of the big picture. I think that that's what's going to be so important for you. So I feel like for each of these sort of spiritual, mythical animals, there's a great wellspring of power that needs to be tapped into. And it's often the spiritual lessons that can be the most challenging ones. And yet it's also what can really show us what we're really made of. And that is this week's Oracle. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can always check me out at elliotoracle.com. You can also follow my social media on YouTube at Elliot Oracle. Thank you for all of you who like and subscribe and share the videos with your friends. It really has helped my channel grow beautifully, and I can't thank you enough for your kind support. I'll also be here again next week, so I'll see you then. So until then, do take care.